Hello everyone and welcome back to the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel. My name is Scott and we are here for the instant reaction review for night 1 of WrestleMania 42. That's right, it's in the books and there is a lot to talk about. Some good, some not so good, and we're going to be diving into it right after this.
Welcome to the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel. On this channel, we bring you some great content from inside and outside of the squared circle. We will go through and offer some in-depth analysis of the biggest events of the year, as well as bringing you exclusive interviews with some of the industry's biggest names. There will also be live show reviews, in-depth features, and podcasts. So make sure you give that subscribe button a slam so you don't miss any of the action.
Alright, once again, welcome back to the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel. As I say, Saturday night's events are in the books. And yeah, I mean, like, it weren't a terrible show, which is probably not the best kind of bar to start with. But there were things I enjoyed about it. But, like, I think my overall take at the moment is, like, I think WrestleMania doesn't feel like WrestleMania anymore. Like, the two-night thing is going to play into it. You know, a somewhat lackluster show is going to play into it as well. And TKO's approach of, you know, as I said on the build-up show, I'm not naively thinking that this regime is completely different to the corporate side that WWE already had before. But there's definitely been a switch. And I think the approach means that things have kind of plummeted in certain areas. Don't get me wrong, I think performance-wise there was some fun stuff tonight, but like there's just a lot of reminders that take you out of, like, I don't know, like the zone, really. Like, there are so many ads, and like it feels weird to even say this, but like I think this was the case maybe with last year's one as well, but like you come out of it thinking like there was nothing other than the matches and the ads. Obviously, there was one, maybe two if you kind of count it that way, but like mic segments. But there was nothing backstage or anything like that. And it feels weird because I feel like if this was 10, 15 years ago, like you would never be calling out for like more backstage segments. But like definitely not in the place of matches. But the point is, at the moment, we don't get anything but short matches. And like again, this isn't me saying, oh, the matches were, you know, just wrestling, and like there weren't a lot of wrestling either. You know, it was just a lot of fluff. I think there was like a ridiculous stat that in like the first 2 hours there'd been like 39 minutes of wrestling or something crazy like that. Let me see if I can find it. There's another one going around just before, I think before the final two matches, there was like a thing going around about how long each match had been. Let me see if I can find that. But, man, it wasn't a lot of wrestling. Like, I don't know. And I don't really know how to feel coming out of this show. It was, again, there were things I enjoyed about. We'll go through match by match. We'll talk about all the big spots and stuff like that. And there were some nice surprises. I say surprises, some things we knew coming. There was one big surprise that was really lovely. But yeah, I've got the match times here. First match, 7 minutes, 10 seconds. Second match, 14:10, 8:35, 8:15, 15:45, 9:22:55. I mean, that's not a lot for an event that was 4 hours long. Like, that's ridiculous. Like, where did the time go? And that's not like, I was having so much fun. Like, the time just was... No, I wasn't having so much fun. I was waiting for the show to kick off. And I think I felt that way yet, like, last year as well. I don't want to just be coming on here all negative because there were things I enjoyed about it. I'm looking at the card here thinking, you know, like, that was quite fun in some areas. But, man. Anyway, let me know what you guys think. It's... Man, it's going to be an interesting review. But let me know what you thought of the show overall. What was your favourite matches? What your favourite moments and stuff like that. Appreciate you guys. Hit me with a comment straight away. Sludge says, what just happened in my life? Kieran, on the opposite side of the spectrum, though, says, brilliant night 1. Look, if this sets up and night 2 is, like, spectacular, like, this was, like, to wet your whistle, like, all right, maybe. But You are absolutely correct, Sir Sludge. Tonight, only one match had the hype build up video package. Yeah, no real promo packages or anything like that. I feel like you could have done those almost all of the matches. Vaquer, Liv, Jacob, and Drew. Yeah, I mean, especially those ones you mentioned there. Such big storylines going into this, and it feels weird. Again, I'm not trying to be like. I know back in the day, people would have probably argued about that. They would have said, too many promo videos, too many backstage kind of silliness segments. But like, when we just have match ad, and somehow it's 4 hours with matches that barely go, like to 10 minutes. It's crazy. Sludge says that shows how terrible this build has been. Only one hype up package. 3 out of 7 matches surpassed 10 minutes as Sludge as well. Kiri says the Fatal 4-Way, Liv versus Steph, Becky versus AJ, all adding all the time up was 24 minutes. All of them added up. Not happy with no returns in the main event. Look, we said earlier on in the build-up show, it could have been a place for someone like The Rock. Who knows? With the main event, look, we'll get to that. But I guess they kind of solved the problem by like just having Orton turn on McAfee anyway. But we're back kind of where we were, and then Orton was just really a bad guy at the end when he still beat up Cody. Right, let's before we get to Cody Rhodes versus Randy Orton, let's start at the very beginning of the show. It starts out with John Cena doing his entrance, which was so strange. You know, like he's coming out in a suit. He ran at the very end, but like he didn't really do many of his normal mannerisms. I guess he was trying to have that definition between Cena the wrestler and Cena the kind of host. But yeah, I was surprised to not see him in any kind of merch. But I guess again the lines would have been too blurred. He's trying to maybe separate a bit. I guess to him in an ideal world, maybe he would have come back this WrestleMania. And yeah, so that kind of doesn't help. But anyway, Cena straight off, like. And he did this later on when he talks about the attendance number as well. Like, he kind of joked about the build basically not being great. Or, like, that people didn't feel the build was great. And he said, something along the lines of, like, what was it used to say, Michael Cole? Polarizing. Which was Michael Cole's kind of annoying way that he used to basically be like, some people don't like Cena, so that's why you don't get all the cheers. You can hear some of those boos because he's such a polarizing character. He wasn't a polarizing character. Like, the kids liked him, and the adults didn't, generally speaking. Like, there are two sides to it, but it doesn't make it polarizing. Like, it wasn't like it wasn't like a politician or where half the population agreed with his politics and half didn't. It wasn't like that. It was just a silly cop-out way that Michael Cole used to say, to give the reasons. And it, might not be Michael Cole's fault. It might be fed that line. But, they never had the balls to turn Cena heel until they did it not too long ago. And we know how that went, to be fair. But yeah, it kind of, like, it was weird that Cena alluded to that, like, straight away. Again, it was just another reminder that they were like, hint, hint, we know you're not happy. Like, it was such a weird thing to like. If you're not gonna fix it, like, why acknowledge it? Like, it's like, we're not really the bad guys, it's them out there. Like, I don't need that from this previously billion-dollar company before TKO even come into it to try and look like they're plucky underdogs that are being told what to do. Like, I'm sure there is kind of management issues and whatever else, but like, and they're just playing into it and the perception of that. But it's strange. Like, I don't know where we're going with this sort of stuff. That ties into the story in the main event as well. It's just so bizarre. Right, let's get into the matches, though. First up, you had the Usos and LA Knight versus Division and IShowSpeed. It was basically exactly what we expected it to be. This and the Unsanctioned match were going to be on ESPN2. They're going to be live. They're going to be free. And it was the opportunity for people to... It was kind of like a pre-show in that sense. We're talking about missing the pre-show, and this... I guess it was kind of treated like that. And even when they promoted tomorrow, they were like, these two matches are on ESPN, the main channel this time, for free. And then the rest of it's on WrestleMania properly. That's what it kind of felt like. Anyway, the Usos come out with a big entrance. Quite fun. LA Knight comes out in, I think it was like a pickup truck or something, or big old car at least. The Vision come out with a multicam, and a big old sheet in the middle of that was IShowSpeed. And it was exactly what I kind of envisioned, really, as one of the possible outcomes, at least, was that Speed was just going to turn babyface because he didn't want to be in a match in the first place. Started out with some impressive stuff from Speed, you know, to his credit. Did that backflip, did the head scissors, and then eventually ended up with Austin Theory kind of bullying him. LA Knight won with like a quick shove. Like I didn't really understand. I was looking up and down. Like it was the show had barely got underway, and I was like, wait, what the heck's going on? But in the end, Logan Paul attacked Speed. Jay prevented Logan Paul from doing the elbow. They come and saved him essentially, but then they helped him set up. Speed gets up to the top turnbuckle and does a really nice frog splash before himself, I should say. But before that, did the zoo. Of course, the Ronaldo celebration that Speed is kind of, I guess, known for himself nowadays as well. But a fun little opener. I can't deny that. It was a fun little opener. But like, there's not a lot on this show where I'm like, I don't know. I don't even know how to kind of put that across. Like, there's not a lot where, obviously, I think there were things that were better and like, I guess, stole the show, but there was still nothing that was like, in years to come, WrestleMania. Yeah, it doesn't live up, basically. This show does not live up to other WrestleManias in many ways. Let's just get to some of these comments before I move on to the next match. Kieran says, not happy with the no return to the main event, as we touched on. Also say Braun Strowman in Vegas also, apparently. Sludge says, I was confused. Did he turn on McAfee or was he confused like when he RKO'd Charles? I'm so confused. Yes, so there was a spot where he accidentally RKO'd the ref. I took it as he was turning on McAfee, but yeah, maybe I'm wrong. We'll get to the main event in a bit, but Sludge says, honestly, this did what it was supposed to do. Quick 8-minute match and a fun opener. I wasn't entertained. Yeah, I agree. Nothing offensive in this match for me. I agree with you, Sludge. I thought it was pretty good. Kieran says, Sludge's finisher is sick. But I don't like the way he does the yeet. But yeah, generally speaking, it was a fun little opener. Gets these guys on the card. Yes, the Usos should have probably been a tag title match. Yeah, we probably want more for LA Knight. And yeah, the Vision has took a little bit of a detour. And yeah, it had celebrity involvement with Speed. But I think they made the best out of a bad situation. Several bad situations. To cram this together and get the most out of it. So yeah, I actually quite enjoyed this as an opener, I've got to say. IShowSpeed, I think he did his job and he come across quite well in this one. So yeah, congratulations to those. A fun opener, and that's what you want with WrestleMania, right? Then after that, we move into Jacob Fatu versus Drew McIntyre in the Unsanctioned match. Now, we were speculating earlier on the build-up show, whether or not this is going to be a draw, no contest, because of this kind of stipulation lends itself to things like that. It wasn't the case. There was a victory. Jacob Fatu picked up the win. He came out with some fire, and then you had Drew McIntyre coming out with a big entrance as well. I guess Angela's back now, cutting up the stage and kind of helping Drew get onto the ramp. Of course, Drew's old sword. It didn't look like the same one, but maybe it was. Drew was beating up Jacob Fatu with his phone. Same sort of spot he's done several times now, I think, at WrestleMania, where he gives his brother the phone to upload the clip. Fun. I enjoyed it. Drew did an incredible flip over the top rope, which was really, really cool to see. Again, a man of that size, and he's not a rookie either. I'll put it that way. So the fact that he could be doing these kind of moves and so graciously, I thought was incredible. So really, really good performance from both these guys in this match, but that moment especially. There was a kick out of Jacob's moonsault. So we started early on with the WrestleMania tradition of kicking out of finishers. But yeah, kicks out Jacob's moonsault, which was a bit of a shock. The referee's belt got taken off of him by Drew McIntyre, but then that turned against him as Jacob started to use it. But there was a Claymore, only hit a 2. Fatu was pushed off the top rope to the outside for a table. I think it was to the outside. And then there was a moonsault through the table eventually by Jacob Fatu, who actually hits it this time and gets a 3 count. I thought this was pretty good. With all the weapons, I was surprised there were no kind of handcuffs. They really played into Jacob Fatu's past of having been in prison. They got a cop car and they did the promo in the cell from Drew McIntyre. So I thought maybe there'd be some sort of like prop relating to that, but there wasn't. But hey, that's a minor complaint, if you will. But generally speaking, I thought it was quite fun. Double the time in the first match, 14 minutes this time. Still pretty quick. And I know they were cramming it into that first hour, I guess, at this point, but it doesn't get much longer after this. It doesn't go longer than for 3 more matches, essentially. The next 2 are quite short as well. But this is where, like, literally my note says, okay, so the main show starts. Like, it felt like that was the pre-show. As much as we've all been clamoring on this channel for pre-show matches, like, this felt like a weird way to kind of deliver that. But it wasn't. It was part of WrestleMania, don't get me wrong. But there was something about the way they kind of changed over. Then there were like camera mess ups. There was a lot of weird mess ups technically on this show. At the very start at this point, Cole said started hyping up the wrong match. Mistakes happen, don't get me wrong. Like, mistakes happen on this channel all the time. And I thank you for sticking by us, despite those. But, like, there were, just loads of times where the camera just went really wonky. It was like, I don't know, like, maybe it's just something was going, I don't know. I really don't know. There's been a lot of that, I feel, on these big shows over the past few years as well. Right, let's get to the next match. Before we do, let's get to some more of these comments. Sludge says this match should have been at least 20 minutes. It didn't feel like an unsanctioned match. It just felt like a no-holds-barred match. For an unsanctioned match, I want crazy spots and unorthodox weapons. Yeah, we were talking about that, weren't we, Sludge, on the build-up show? You know, the differences between these different, no DQ, hardcore, extreme rules, unsanctioned. And, you know, we did have a little bit of a stab at it, didn't we? We tried to look at how they do differentiate sometimes in their booking. And as you say there, sometimes it does have those kind of unorthodox weapons and kind of crazy spots. I mentioned on the build-up that they could have ended it in a draw if both guys kind of fell off a balcony or fell off the Titantron, off the stage. But yeah, they didn't go with it. I'm not saying I wanted people to kind of put themselves at risk. I'm just saying I kind of get where you're coming from here, where like it was fun, but like it was unsanctioned anyway. Sludge says I want to see something different in one of these matches. New weapons, unique spots, but this was very entertaining for a no-holds-barred match. Some cool spots though. Yeah, see where you're coming from there. This is also where we should have got our first video package, says Sludge. Yeah, really confusing. Again, like the lack of video packages on this show. Like, as Lucas said, as much as like he was saying on the stream earlier on, like sometimes it's too heavy on the kind of, oh my gosh, this has been a story that's been brewing for 10 months. It doesn't all need to be like that. But a lot of these feuds are. So, to highlight that. The only one that really did it, from what I can remember, is the promo package at the end for Cody and Randy, which was good. But even that was kind of, spoiled, as we all know, by the insertion of Pat McAfee, and that leveled a storyline as well. But anyway, we're going to get there. Kieran says the cameraman chip it up. I missed that, Kieran. I came back into the room. My wife told me about it, but I completely missed it. But apparently he was like laying on the floor kind of laughing. You could see him in the background. So fair play. Next up, we did get the Tag Team Championship match of the women's division, and as speculated for just over a week or so now, Nikki Bella was unable to compete. Now, this speculation really ramped up on Friday night when there were stories breaking that she would be out and she would be replaced by a returning Paige. But then last night at the Hall of Fame, she basically said, yeah, I'm all right, don't worry. Then she came out on a crutch. I said, I've been trying to make it. It's just not going to happen. But I've got someone to take my place. And it was Paige. And it was a great reaction. It was a great moment. I felt really pleased for her. Yes, we've seen her in AEW. We've seen her wrestle, which in itself was incredible considering what she'd gone through. But to see her back in WWE and have a match in WWE at WrestleMania was amazing as well. So I'm really, really pleased to see her back and healthy. Her, Daniel Bryan, Edge, like, what incredible stories. It's amazing. To see where how they all were they all managed to come back. Very emotional. So really, really pleased to see that. Now, the match itself, like, it was alright, but another example of, like, it just felt so rushed. This apparently was 8 minutes and 35 seconds for 4 teams. There was 8 people in this match. One of those had come back after being away for years, and the best you could give them was 8.5 minutes. Really, really frustrating. Let's start with the positives, though. Started out with the Moth and the Butterfly. That was pretty cool from Charlotte and Alexa. Alexa Bliss had a note on the back of her gear. I can't remember what it said now. It was clearly a reference to Bray Wyatt, something forever or something like that. It was 2 words. I can't remember what it was now. But yeah, credit to her. It was really nice. You had the kind of Moth gear and the kind of logo in the background. Really nice to see and quite a sweet kind of touch. There. Anyway, Lyra and Bayley came out looking like they were like laughing at something, like they were facing backwards, and I don't know if just something messed up on their entrance, but that was weird. Then you had Paige's entrance, again, the return, which was cool. Look, on the build-up show, I was confused about whether or not the Bellas had been heels or baby faces, and Lucas was telling me, no, they are baby faces. The last time I really saw much about them, I'm only really watching the highlights these days, they were heels to me, and I just felt like it was weird for Paige to come back and join Brie in that sense. Look, they're from the same generation, as I keep saying, but there's not much beyond that. Let's jump to the end. Like, they win the match. And I'm happy for Paige. I'm happy for Brie. And I feel bad for Nikki. But, like, it just shouldn't have happened. Like, they're going to lose those titles soon, right? Surely they have to. I'm pleased for him. I really am. Like, especially Paige. But, like, it should have been Brie and Nikki winning the titles. And if it weren't going to be then, just don't do it. Like, the shock was Paige's return. She didn't need to win a title. I'm happy for her. Don't get me wrong. As a performer, as a person, I'm happy for her. But, like, it's weird when they do this with teams kind of split and someone steps in anyway. It's even weirder when they're twins. It's even weirder when those twins have never had the opportunity to win these titles before. Those titles didn't exist when they were on the main roster before. The tag team division didn't even exist. To be fair, they never even teamed, I guess, that often. So, yeah, like, it's just a real disappointment for me. Because I think, like, if they do it now, like, Bree's won it twice anyway, and Nikki would always have only won it once, if they even manage to do it for the two of them now. So they might even do a weird thing where Nikki attacks Paige and somehow, like, when they throw the titles around as if, they mean nothing. They might even do like a weird storyline like that where Nikki doesn't even win the title but she's the champ. They've done weird things like that before. But I hope not. But yeah, it's kind of frustrating to me. As happy as I am for Paige, I just... The whole point surely was for the Bellas to become tag champs. Like, to have it on their CV and make those titles have that lineage as well. Like, so yeah, kind of disappointed in that sense. But like, again, nice moment. Rampage, Cradle DTT by Paige to pick up the victory. Good for her. Like, a moment in itself. But long term, I don't get it. Let's get some more of these comments before we move on to the next match. Sludge says, I feel so bad for Nikki, like the Bellas deserve the belts. It's a shame that injuries happen, which have affected a lot of this year's Mania, which is, yeah, that's a good point. Love the moment, but feel bad for Nikki. Yeah, I think we're on the same side there, Sludge. And it didn't look like she was hurt. It just looked like they had a hand or crutch. She didn't need those crutches. Yeah, I think it was a leg injury, wasn't it? I love the gear from Alexa and Charlotte, so Sludge as well. Also, I've never heard the theme, but I sort of like the Irresistible Forces theme song. Yeah, speaking of entrances, they had a cool entrance, like coming out with a bit of an homage to Demolition, who just went into the Hall of Fame as well. So yeah, really cool to see that. I would have give it to Bayley and Lyra. I don't like the winner at all, says Sludge. Yeah, like I was saying on the build-up show and on last night's weekend kickoff show, like, for me, just... if it weren't the Bellas, just keep it on the champs. There was no reason to take it off them. I think they just wanted the moment. But yeah, we'll see where we go with this one next. But yeah, not all negative though. Like, there were some positives in this, and it was nice to see Paige back. Next up, we've got the IC title on the line. AJ Lee defending her gold against Becky Lynch. And what do you know? It's another match that's barely over 8 minutes. 8 minutes, 15 seconds. Like, terrible. And talking of terrible, oh my goodness, the Wonder Years. That entrance was awful. And I feel so bad for everyone involved because I don't feel like it was Becky's decision to make a mime. And I don't know if the band would have wanted to mime. But then again, WWE have always had live performances anyway. I know the argument is that some of them haven't gone well. And maybe something was not going well in rehearsals and it decided to mime. Maybe there's a technical issue. But my goodness, was it embarrassing. First of all, they came in late. Right, the intro of the man comes around, and at first I thought, well, that's clearly mimed, right? It sounds exactly the same as the entrance song, and it was delayed. So I thought, all right, well, they're just miming the first bit because they wanted to get that, you know, like it's like doing Cody's wrestling. There's more than one royal family, and you know, being like, oh, if he says it live, it won't sound the same. So all right, but then when the song kicks in, like downstate play, right? That's how I'd kind of see it. And then the Wonder Years did not play. From what I took of it anyway. Maybe I'm wrong, but to me, they seemed like they were miming the whole time. And maybe I was just swayed by the intro clearly being mimed and they were playing a little bit. I don't know. But to me, it sounded suspiciously perfect. And exactly like the entrance song. And they weren't moving in the way that you'd expect that sound to come out of them, essentially. So it was rubbish. I feel bad because A, I really like the song, and B, I like live music at WrestleMania, and C, I know it's Becky's like one of her favorite bands and how much this theme song means to her. And it just was not the entrance. Like, I feel like they've got to do it again, like next year. Just like not mime it. And then look back at this and go, why did we do that? But again, maybe there was a reason behind it. But to me, man, it was one of the most annoying things about the entire show for me. Sludge to see, this is where Paige should have returned. We would have had this moment and this match just happened. Yeah, we talked about Paige maybe returning on Raw, right? And kind of facing the winner of this, who is now Becky Lynch. Great song, bad performance as Sludge as well. Yeah, I'm not happy with that. Let's get into some of the notes about the match itself. Well, you know what? There was another entrance. Let's talk about that. AJ Lee had a nice entrance as well. Most of this show is about entrances. I feel like most of my notes about entrances because the matches are so short. AJ Lee's entrance was lovely. All the little kids skipping around. Did you notice one ran to the back at the beginning? Bless him. I don't know what happened there, but a nice little entrance there, and kind of just that visual reminder of like these women are heroes to people and inspiring. So that was really nice. The match actually felt like it was Becky Lynch versus is it Jessica Carr, the referee? She had a bee in her bonnet about her the whole time, and again the match was only 8 minutes long, so it was probably about 4 minutes of that, to be fair. Getting towards the end of the match, because again not much happened, there was a Black Widow, a hair pull from Becky Lynch, nice heel move there, and she removed the pad. The referee got sandwiched in between them on the turnbuckle. The head goes into the turnbuckle of AJ Lee, and then there's a manhandle slam and the 3 count to pick up the victory. She finally defeats the ghost that is AJ Lee and finally gets back the Intercontinental title. It's third time for Becky Lynch, and yeah, I don't see it being a long reign. Again, I feel like she could lose it on Raw. I feel like Paige would have been a great surprise there to do it. But maybe it'll be someone else. You know, there were talks earlier on about maybe Sol Ruka. It's a big jump up for someone like that at this moment. But yeah, I think keep it on Becky for a long time is probably not the way to go. But for the 8 minutes they got, it feels like I'm talking about the Divas era now. Like, don't get me wrong, they got less than 8 minutes, but it feels similar to that. For what they got, I think they performed quite well. Man, I need a drink. Next up, let's move into probably, maybe I'll say it, match of the night. Really enjoyed this. 15 minutes, 45 seconds. Not the longest match. Kind of a Raw type match in some ways. Getting back to the entrances, Seth comes out with a smoky jacket, a mask, and black eyes. He had, as in his eyeballs were black. Not that they'd been punched yet. And the jacket was cool, like the holes in it, so the kind of, I guess it was like dry ice or something, the smoke was coming out. Then he'd move it and it came up, it flapped out. That's pretty cool. He had a mask on, which the camera missed taking it off. I don't know if it was on purpose, but it seemed like a bit of a production mistake again. Gunther's entrance was alright. I thought there might be something fancy, like an orchestra. There wasn't. He had career killer in big letters on his entrance graphics. Straight away destroys him, by the way. Hits him with a powerbomb, and Steph's not looking good from the get-go. Steph does start to kind of find his feet again. On the outside, he starts throwing chairs at Gunther from the outside, and I thought, hold on a minute, is this no DQ? What the heck's going on? Oh, wait, the bell hasn't rung yet. It does ring eventually when they get back in the ring, and a lot of back and forth. Quite a fun match. Your typical thing at WrestleMania, again, where they start relying on things like kick-outs of moves and stuff like that. There's a kick-out of a pedigree, which turned into a stomp. So there's a pedigree, then a stomp, I should say, and then Gunther kicked out of that. There were 2 dives from Seth to the outside. It goes for a third. He's caught by Gunther. He hits him with a power bomb on a couple of power bombs on the outside as well. One on the outside of the ring, and then I think one on the announce table, which I think might have buckled for second one of the night. No, maybe it didn't actually, because then there was a pedigree on the table, weren't there? And it didn't break then either. Or maybe it did. But either way, there's a pedigree on the table. Then there was a stomp on the table. A lot of table stuff. And this is, to be fair, at the same point, they're still on the outside, and Seth, as soon as Seth got up, I was like, oh yeah, Braun Breaker's coming out now. And he did. And what do you know? The camera kind of just, it wasn't the best camera shot again. There was a spear, and I'm glad Braun Breaker come back. It was a nice return. Expected. I was hoping that's what they would do. I was hoping they'd bring it back to the Vision, because as we were saying on the Weekend Kickoff show, as we were saying on the build-up show, this surely isn't what they had planned for both these guys. I was surprised to hear Heyman kind of say that the plan would have been, I think it was Braun Breaker versus CM Punk and Seth versus Roman, which I'm kind of shocked by Seth versus Roman. I don't see why they would have done that. It's kind of similar to last year, had the triple threat and 2 of them are still in it. It would have been the other 2, I guess, or one of the others with Roman. Wouldn't have been a fan of that. And what the heck would that have meant for the Vision? I mean, that makes sense if he was still in the Vision. Maybe that's more like what he meant. But I guess it is, because he was talking about how he would have been involved. So, once he left the Vision, surely it was going to be about Seth versus Braun, for example. Anyway, that looks like where we're going again. Gunther did win with a sleeper, as we kind of expected. Rob was kind of speculating on the build-up show that maybe Gunther could win by kind of some sort of cheating tactic, and this was it. Then after that, there was a long run down the ramp from Braun Breaker as he hit Seth with another spear, kind of an awkward looking one, because he was picking up some steam, and he kind of hit it like, it just seemed like he span in the air as he hit him. A cool visual, I guess a cool WrestleMania moment, if you will. But good to see Braun Breaker back in this one. As I say, 15 minutes 45 seconds for this. Definitely match of the night by far, says Sludge. Yeah, I agree. I think I'm going to commit to that. I did enjoy things about Cody and Randy, but I think Gunther versus Seth, as I think expected before we went into this show. I think that was match of the night. But let me know in the comments, guys. Did you enjoy this match the most? What was the match of the night for you? And what did you think of WrestleMania Saturday overall? Of course, we'll be back for WrestleMania Sunday content, where we'll have the build-up show, getting you hyped up and in the mood for night 2 of the PLE. But at the moment, we are recapping everything that went down on night 1. If you're watching live or on demand, or as part of the replay section on that build-up show, we appreciate you. And thanks for tuning in. I want to know what you think of the show overall. The 6th match of the night, was Stephanie Vaquer defending her Women's World Championship against Liv Morgan, who again, most of my notes are about entrances, and it's not because they all had massive entrances, but they had cool entrances, different entrances. Liv came out to a brand new song, which is now apparently her theme song. They kind of did the same sort of like routines they did from the music video. If you haven't seen it yet, the kind of dances that they did, the routine, if you will, was kind of lifted from that. Yeah, I mean, I think Liv looks like a star. I think, yeah, same old stuff there. I think she's a great talent, and you know, myself and Rob were talking about this on the kickoff show that WWE did. We did a watch along for it, and we watched the music video. Then we're trying to, you know, just figure out whether or not they are just hoping they're doing it for WWE for a character, and if it works and she becomes a star outside because of it, then so be it. Maybe they're hoping that it might go viral, and if it doesn't, it becomes part of the character. I think Liv said that she just wanted a new theme song. She thinks she's going to be a one-hit wonder, something along those lines. Anyway, Stephanie had a cool entrance herself. She had those kind of petals raining down and a lovely little train behind her on her outfit, her ring gear. Yep, kind of paint my numbers in this match a little bit, really. It was 9 minutes. It was same old stuff, really. The Devil's Kiss from Stephanie Vaquer. Liv hitting her own Devil's Kiss. Didn't quite happen. She got stopped by Stephanie. Judgment Day did get involved. We were talking about whether or not this is where the seeds are planted or where the turn actually happens for the Judgment Day, but I felt it would be too soon because, you know, she is a big bad heel, Liv Morgan, at the moment, so it'd be hard to garner that kind of sympathy right here. Maybe a jealousy angle comes after this, as I say, now that she's champion, as I did predict. But getting ahead of ourselves there, let's go back to some of the highlights from the match. Yeah, again, you had Judgment Day getting involved. They tried to distract Stephanie. They did a good job at it. Oblivion was hit, but only a 2 count. Another example of people kinking out finishes on this show. Liv dove into Raquel by accident a little while after this, and then Stephanie dove off the ropes as well to take them out. Then she was thrown into the steps by Liv Morgan, who threw her back into the ring, took advantage of the situation and the distraction, hit with the Oblivion, and gets the 3 count. Again, I feel like it's hard to judge all the matches because they are so short. They weren't given a lot of time. 9 minutes for this one. Liv Morgan, I think it's the right result. It was a decent performance from both ladies in it and the 2 people that helped sell the story on the outside. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much all I can kind of give it, really, because it was just, yeah, it was all right. Yeah, cool, right result. Nothing spectacular. And that is, again, nothing on the performers. I just think maybe they didn't get a chance to do that. So I said this should be our second hype video promo. Honestly, love Liv Morgan. It looked like they spent more time choreographing the entrance than they choreographing the match. Ooh, what a line. The match should have also been longer, says Sludge as well. Yeah, I get where you're coming from there. I mean, saying that, I mean, when you add up, I mean, it's a long old ramp, yeah, but when you add up the entrances for most of these matches, they're going to cut it close to the match time that you got, especially the Fatal 4-Way Tag Team match, right? Like 8 minutes 35, even if each team had 2 minutes each, they're basically right on point for the length of the match, which is crazy. Right, let's move on to the main event of the evening. This one actually got apparently 22 minutes and 55 seconds to breathe, and you could tell, I mean, it was the main event. I guess it deserved more time. We're talking about Cody Rhodes versus Randy Orton with Pat McAfee in his corner, but not for long. I think they did a good job, WWE, to be fair, of getting rid of the Pat McAfee equation early on, and Jelly Roll getting involved and stuff like that, and just getting rid of it straight away. Jelly Roll even playing into that as a good guy, being like, as he did the past few weeks on SmackDown as well, being like, oh, you don't need all this, and why can't people just stay out of it? You know, he had the line, I think it was something along the lines of like, where is it? I wrote it down. It was like, go give them the one-on-one fight they came to see. So, yeah, cool. I think they dialed back on some things here because of the backlash they got. No pun intended, even though they're probably going to face each other next month. Although this does now mean that Pat McAfee's out of WWE, apparently, because he lost, Randy Orton lost a match. But maybe that bond is broken because of the way Randy turned on him. But we'll talk about that a bit later. Or did he turn on him, as we've kind of talked about in comments. Yeah, Randy Orton. Yeah. I mean, he kind of wasn't really involved at the start. I mean, you got... To be fair, I mean, it started out... Let's go with the entrances again. Cole putting over Pat as the heel. And I think it was admirable because everybody knows the relationship they've got. Even Wade Barrett acted surprised. And Cole really kind of crapped all over him. Then you had Randy's entrance. Nothing special. Cody's entrance was pretty cool. He wore a new jacket and a new mask, which I thought was really cool. And then they went through his kind of history, really. His entire history showed his debut, I think it was, against Randy Orton with a CR on his trunks and the green trunks themselves. It showed when he wore the face mask. Then it showed Stardust. And then it showed his return to WWE. And I thought it was really cool. I liked how they did that. It was a good entrance. But this is what that should have been all along. Like, they touched on that. This had a promo package, to their credit. As Sludge has been saying, a lot of these deserve big promo packages. But it still could have been better. It should have been more focused on that. But as I say, on the build-up show, maybe they just felt like they were struggling because people wanted to boo Cody and cheer Randy, inserting Pat. To their credit, as much as I didn't like it, I think Pat should have inserted somewhere else and could have still played a good heel role. I guess it did the job there, right? It stopped people booing Cody as much, and it kind of made people annoyed with that side, that like whoever's against it, not so much Randy, but just anti-Cody, So anyway, it was cool. And to be fair, they could have done more with this entrance as well. They could have done moustached Cody Rhodes, dashing Cody Rhodes. So there was more they could have done, but I appreciate what they did do. Started off with Pat attacking Cody Rhodes with the microphone. He gets a crossroads for his troubles. He's taken outside, and then there's an elbow drop from Jelly Roll, who just appears out of nowhere like an RKO from one announce table to the other, puts him through it. And as I say, then he hits the line, go give him the one-on-one they came to see, fight they came to see. In the match itself, Randy Orton gets busted open on the post. Cody puts the blood from that on top of his dream tattoo, so some nice kind of visuals there, storytelling. And again, once the Pat thing was out of the way, like it felt like the match that it could have always been. Cody... kicked out of a crossroads because Randy decided to hit him with one. He only gets a 2 with it. Cody therefore decides to hit Randy with, so with his own medicine as well. Hits him with an RKO. You guessed it, only gets a 2. Then a little while later, Cody is measuring for a crossroads, I think it was. And then instead, there's a shock RKO out of nowhere. Once again, only gets a 2. And then Cody starts to be a little bit naughty. He hits him with a finger poke. There's shenanigans because the ref starts going down and stuff like that. There is a low blow miss, but then Cody hits one. So again, he's acting a little bit naughty here. But you keep getting Michael Cole's point going. You can't blame him. You can't blame him. It's like yeah, that's what they do when they try and justify a good guy doing something a bit naughty. Cody Cutter is reversed into an RKO, which was a fantastic spot, by the way, especially for, a move that is almost an homage to the other, being a cutter and a cutter. And again, it played into that kind of teacher, student, it was really cool. And it was a great, perfectly timed reversal in my eyes. I really, really liked that. It was a great spot. The referee is taken out at this point, and Pat McAfee runs down in a striped referee shirt. Counts the 2, and then Randy Orton hits it with the RKO. Now, it already hit the referee with an RKO, as Sludge mentioned earlier on, and he kind of like just seemed to be, because of the finger poke, didn't really know what was going on. He Then hit, yeah, as I say, Pat with a finger, not with a finger poke, with an RKO. I took it as he was turning on Pat, but maybe I'll have to watch it again. Because at the end, he was a naughty boy still. Like, Cody Rhodes was. I've just got a text from my mate that says commercial mania talking about this show. Yeah, Cody Rhodes hits the crossroads, gets the free. Like, fair enough. Yeah, he won. If it was me, I would have given it to Randy Orton. If we didn't do all the Pat stuff, even more so. And then after the match, like, I thought that was it. I've started setting up for this stream, and then I was like, wait, what the heck's going on? Randy was attacking him. So yeah, he's jealous basically. You know, Cody holds up the title, Randy yanks it out of his hand. I think he must hit him with an RKO at that point because he gets him down at some point. Then he hits him with a punt, and it's like punts are like not something you see really. I know a lot of people were looking at Pat and Randy being like, oh, two punters, a couple of punts. But yeah, I was shocked they didn't play into that really because of who Pat is and what his career was, and that they did it after the match. Like, it weren't flirted within the match. It weren't really flirted with in the build to the match. It was after the match. So what does this mean now then? Randy Orton's going to go... Are they going to just do the match they should have had before? Is it now going to be Randy Orton as a heel? Like, do they feel like they cemented him as a heel because of the Pat thing? I mean, again, I said it on the build-up show. Is that what this was all along? They just felt like Randy was going to get cheered too much and they needed to really, like, annoy people. Maybe it was a month too late. Maybe they should have done this at Elimination Chamber so that by the time we get to WrestleMania, Pat's out the picture and it's just like they've established Randy is more of a heel. And that's what they're going to do now. Maybe that's what we're going to do when we go to Backlash. Maybe we're going to get the one-on-one proper kind of legacy type thing. But, you know, it was all about WrestleMania for me. This match, it's been a long time coming. I said a long time ago that Randy Orton, should, in my opinion, should have turned on Cody Rhodes. And that would have made him a bit more kind of evil. Do you know what I mean? So I know it's always hard with a legend like that, and again when people are slowly turning against Cody anyway. But yeah, I just think there's definitely a different route to take here. Sludge said this match should have also been longer. I know that was about the Liv Morgan one, and then said best entrance night, actually really cool. Props to them. Love the entrance for Cody. Yeah, I thought it was a really good entrance. It was probably the most spectacular entrance, wasn't it, Sludge? But yeah, that brings it up to the end of the show. There was a few other things that happened on the show. Like we saw the Danhausen blip. That was pretty fun, even though Danhausen wasn't anywhere to be seen. Maybe he'll show up at night 2, but like not even like showing legends backstage. Oh, you had the Hall of Fame bit. Yeah. And then probably like the best thing about the night was the announcement of Bianca Belair's pregnancy. I mean, congratulations to her and Montez Ford. Really, really great news. I really like Cena's note as well, because he came out to give the attendance first of all. He said it was 50,816. And then said with the announcement of the baby, there was now 50,817. So I thought it was quite a sweet note. Really, really weird that Montez Ford wasn't there. Like I've seen a picture of them online, and she's wearing the same clothes, so it must have been taken today. But like, you know, him kissing her stomach and belly and that. But like, why couldn't he have like maybe not done an entrance? But why couldn't he have been behind the barrier and like hugged her? Do you know what I mean? Like, it was just, that was strange to me. But man, great news. Like I say, I don't want to put a downer on that. Really, really good news. She came out. I joked to my wife saying, is she going to announce she's retiring because of her finger injury? And I'm not trying to downplay her finger injury. I know it sounds like it was pretty gruesome. I mean, about a year ago, we were like, really, a finger? Like, what the heck's wrong? And how's she been out for so long? And there was all these rumors about like things going wrong with her recovery, and I think the surgery and stuff like that. But like, look, even if they chopped her finger off or her hand off, like, she could carry on wrestling. So my point was more like, if she retires over this will be quite silly. I'm not saying it doesn't hurt, and she has to go through a lot, but you know, when we look at people like Paige, Daniel Bryan, Edge, and that turned around, of course. I thought, what's she doing here? Because Rob, in our group chat as well, said the same thing. Like, I thought she was going to announce she was retiring. Like, I didn't know what she was doing. But no, thankfully, it was a much nicer announcement. And it does mean, of course, that she's going to be away for a little bit longer. So absence will make that heart grow fonder, as they say. And look, man, she was in danger when she was around before of being the John Cena, where she's kind of, ironic that she's in the ring of Cena, right? Shoved down her throat and the baby face and all this kind of stuff. And I think she was crying out for a heel turn. I think they might have been getting close to it. I still maintain I think she might have actually been originally meant to be part of the Jade Cargill Naomi situation, as in like she actually was the one that did it or told Naomi to do it. But hey, it's probably not going to come to fruition now unless somehow Jay turns babyface and Bianca comes back and ends up being a heel eventually. But yeah, I was really shocked because I was like, why here? What the heck is she doing? Like, why is surely night 2? She's going to attack. It makes perfect sense now, right? But yeah, she came out to make that announcement, which again was really nice. So congratulations to Bianca Belair and Montez Ford. And yeah, just looking forward to that next stage of good news, really. So yeah, well done to them. But yeah, let's wrap up here, guys. It's a nice note to wrap up on, right? Considering the the negative points about the show. Look, I've come around to it. We're about 50 odd minutes into the stream, and it weren't a bad show. It just weren't a great show, and it weren't WrestleMania worthy, in my opinion. There were some good moments, like Paige's return, great, but there's like an asterisk on all, even the good moments. I feel, like, did she need to win the title? Like it's frustrating for the Bellas, or for fans of the Bellas. Even if the Bellas are fine with it, like I just think it muddies the waters there. The IShowSpeed stuff, like, it was always going to be that, and that's okay, and it was fine. But like, there was just nothing that made you go, man, like, or like, that was amazing. I can't wait for tomorrow, or nothing even that led into tomorrow. Because I just think this 2-night thing, they've really struggled to know what it is like to really. Sometimes it is that. Sometimes there's this thread that goes into night 2, and that can go awkwardly sometimes, and sometimes it can work. Sometimes night 1 has been way better than night 2. Sometimes 2 is better than 1, and that's always going to be the case as well. But yeah, like, it just, I don't feel like I'm watching WrestleMania, other than the fact that there's a massive stadium, and they put some surprises in there. Like, I don't feel like this was, like, I look at the card and I'm like, yeah, I could see that as like a one-nighter. I could say, yeah, it's a WrestleMania card in itself, to be fair, but like, don't know, it's just the presentation, the execution, the delivery of it just doesn't feel like what I know WrestleMania to be, and I think it's just a combination of all these things. Some people put it down to the celebrity, some people put it down to the booking and the build, some people put it down to the shortness of the matches, the lack of backstage stuff, the lack of just like fanfare for WrestleMania. Like, there was no, I don't remember seeing any footage of WWE World, for example. It used to be Access, and maybe it'll be some of that tomorrow, but it just felt off. Then and all the ads on WrestleMania, like, there's ads everywhere. Like, I understand the commercial side and stuff like that, but like, I think that's the problem. All these things are kind of building up at once, and it's just really frustrating. I actually did enjoy the ads. I don't know if it was the same in the States, but like, the ads that we were getting sometimes was like part of the Hogan documentary, which I found quite interesting. Like, I thought, oh, maybe this was the kind of thing they could do in the future. But then, like, it played the same one twice at one point, and it was a bit like, oh, all right. I've gone from wanting to watch the documentary and learn more about what they're talking about. I know Hogan's a polarizing figure and stuff like that, but, still interested in, I think, some of the stories they were telling. But then I just ended up being like, yeah, I'm kind of sick of this. So it kind of backfired. But yeah, that kind of thing, I don't mind that. Like, if that's in the way of ads, if America's getting ads, then yeah, by all means, show me some extra content or something like that. But they were doing that before as well, weren't they? We talk about these promo videos. Like, they were cutting them for American audiences. We were getting them. When it was on Peacock, we were getting them, and they were getting ads. And it was like, well, then it's not really serving its purpose, Like, it's just really messed up, the kind of I guess organization of these things, but hey, that's that. Night 1 is in the books. welcome back to the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel. My name is Scott and we are here to break down all the big stories coming out of WrestleMania Sunday. That's right, number 42 is in the books. And I gotta say, it ended much nicer than how night one ended. Overall, I mean, like, the show just felt so much better tonight. Look, there were still some things I would question, but overall, I'm much happier than I was 24 hours ago. So let's dive into that right after this.
Welcome to the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel. On this channel, we bring you some great content from inside and outside of the squared circle. We will go through and offer some in-depth analysis of the biggest events of the year, as well as bringing you exclusive interviews with some of the industry's biggest names. There will also be live show reviews, in-depth features and podcasts. So make sure you give that subscribe button a slam so you don't miss any of the action.
All right, guys, welcome back once again. And again, I'm glad to say I'm coming on air happier than I was 24 hours ago. And that's because WWE have given us a far better show tonight. Again, there are still some things that I would question, but stuff that, to be honest, I don't think would have changed after yesterday's kind of blatant frustration from the fans. You know, obviously there was a lot of stuff online, and I did wonder if WWE might kind of counter from some decisions because of that. Who knows? We'll have to wait until see. You know, we see episode 74 of WWE Unreal on Netflix. But as things stand, I'm pretty happy with what they did this evening. And yeah, I think the performers, just like last night, to be fair, stepped up. And I think tonight's one had a bit of a stronger card anyway. We talked about this on the build-up show, but still, there was a lot to live up to and a lot to kind of make up for. You know, I was saying earlier on tonight before, again, the show began, that I was... You know, it was a lot to kind of put on the performance tonight, but I do think they did deliver. We're going to be breaking down each and every one of the matches and the big moments on the show as we make our way through this stream. If you haven't already, please subscribe. Let us know what you thought of WrestleMania. Got a few comments coming in already. Sludge is in the house. Good to see you as always, buddy. Says, what a night. Sludge also says, tonight felt like a mania. I would have to agree. Again, a big part of what I was kind of feeling about last night was like, this just doesn't feel like WrestleMania. Tonight felt a lot more like WrestleMania. And the colors are much better. Yeah, just talking simply about the branding, it was very different on night one and night two, wasn't it? We'll start there, actually, because John Cena came out as the host. It always bugs me when the host doesn't host. He just comes out and says, welcome, and then he says, here's the attendance. That was basically it on both nights. But yeah, he also kind of hinted at like, oh, we're going to start off with something big. And it was a graphic change. I mean, yeah, I like the graphics, but a lot of people I saw online thought like someone was coming out or a return or something like that. And thought it was maybe even a hint to The Rock because there was a bit of electricity in there as well. But it wasn't to be. The Rock didn't show up tonight. Where he could have shown up, hey, maybe the main event. I was actually thinking at some points throughout it, well, maybe it is going to happen. But it didn't. And the main event didn't really see any... Well, it saw shenanigans between the two wrestlers, but it didn't see any kind of outside interference, which is really surprising for a WrestleMania match and a Roman Reigns title match. So, yeah, I was pleasantly surprised. Even though I like that kind of fun stuff when it works, I felt like tonight was perfect the way they did it. Didn't need anyone else involved. It was a great story they told. But before we get to the main event, let's make our way through the show. As I say, it started out with John Cena saying welcome to a WrestleMania Night 2 and all that fun stuff. But then we went straight into Obafemi versus Brock Lesnar. Now you tuned into the Rebellious Noise instant reaction of WrestleMania Night 2. We already covered Night 1 as well. So if you haven't already, check that video out and you'll find out my thoughts on that. But as we come straight away out of WrestleMania Night 2, I wanted to let you know what I thought of this show itself as well. So let's get into it, guys. Let's move into Night 2 and the review for it. Again, as I say, it opens up with Brock Lesnar versus Obafemi, and my goodness, was this a fun way to start the show. It wasn't a long match. It was never really going to be a long match, was it? Let me see if I can get up the match times. We talked about this yesterday, and I do want to kind of compare the two as well, because I think for the most part, matches felt pretty much on par as far as the length, but it was just just so much more to this evening. I mean, they were better overall. They were longer overall, but still, yeah, I just felt like it was way better paced as well. There was one less match, maybe that helps. You know, they can spread over that extra minute or two for each of them. But yeah, let's get into the first one, which was only 4 minutes and 45 seconds apparently. But again, it's the kind of match where you're like, it's okay being short. That's kind of what it is. It felt like a spectacle straight away. People loved Obafemi's entrance, as they have done for quite some time. It started out with kind of typical back and forth, but Brock kind of, you know, was behind from the early on. He was looking very angry on the outside. He eventually did hit the F5 on Obafemi. Obafemi just kind of got to his feet after a little while. There was no attempt to pin him. Then there was a big choke slam to Brock Lesnar, who did exactly the same thing. And then, I mean, this was pretty much it. There was a huge powerbomb, and Obafemi wins. It was the right call. It was explosive. It was a fun way to start the show. And then came the shocker, guys. At time of recording, this is where we stand. Maybe it changes on Raw. Maybe it's a swerve. Who knows? Maybe it's real, but they changed their mind. I don't know. But at the time of recording, it looks like Brock Lesnar has retired. It looks like Brock Lesnar has wrestled his final match in WWE. I mean, I was so shocked seeing this. Yeah, I mean, even to say it, I just feel weird saying it. So Brock Lesnar basically started taking off his gloves, and I thought, hold on a minute. This is a bit odd looking. And then he takes off one boot, and then another, and there's no real mention of it on commentary at the time, because they're kind of just letting the moment breathe, I guess. But the audience know what this is. You know, I'm looking at this thinking, I know what this looked like. And yeah, later on when they do acknowledge it, they say the same. And they kind of careful on commentary to be like, you know, especially Wade Barrett being like, we don't know for sure, but it seems like this is what this is. But yeah, it looks like Brock Lesnar has retired. He did this kind of X mark, which I think some people are speculating so many different things about already, as Heyman got in the ring. And yeah, they just embraced, and Heyman was crying his eyes out as they started to make their way out the ramp. Brock was thanking the audience. It seemed legit. He was teary himself in the ring, it seemed. So yeah, I mean, it looks like this is it. Brock Lesnar's career is over, which is so shocking to say. I mean, yeah, WrestleMania against Obafemi, you paint it like that, you go, oh, okay, I could see that. But like much like with AJ Styles, it was kind of quicker than expected. People thought Brock might be retiring this year, maybe at SummerSlam, maybe to the hands of Gunther. But no, it just seems to be done already. Unless Gunther can call him out of retirement and say, no, let me retire you properly. It looks like it is over. But over because of Oba. And Oba did just before this, actually, did a little hats off gesture to Brock, which kind of was nice at first. When I first saw it, I thought that was a nice little kind of a moment there. But then, after this, I'm looking back on that going, man, like it was like he knew. And there's speculation as to whether the commentators knew, whether Heyman knew. I don't know. I don't know if Brock even knew. I don't know if Brock maybe just decided there and then, yeah, I'm done. It feels like a Brock thing to do, right? To not even announce it, or, you know, because you think WWE, they could have made a storyline out of this and all that kind of stuff, but they've had plenty of that recently with AJ Styles and Goldberg and John Cena. So yeah, maybe that's why Brock did it this way, just to be, I guess, a little bit different. But man, what a shock. Sludge says, I don't think this is it for Brock. This will be in Unreal, sort of like faking an injury. This time they'll be faking a retirement, and he will get a big pop when he comes back. This actually makes more sense for Gunther's storyline. You could be right, man. You could be right. And I hope, I'm not saying I hope you're not, because like I don't see Rock or anything like that. It's more like I don't want Unreal to become part of the show. Like, yeah, the Seth thing was really cool. And I like seeing the behind the scenes of it, but we don't need another one of them. And like, they've done fake retirements before. You know, AJ Styles himself did one, which was a copycat of the exact same thing that Mark Henry did. And yeah, this isn't in the same way, but like, I did wonder if like Brock was just gonna hit Heyman or something like that, and it was all fake in the moment. But like, they've done the moment now. The moment's complete. So like, once you've done it, I feel like you have to kind of commit to it. So yeah, if this is it, then man, what a career. I mean, Michael Cole talked about, he was there from the start, and, me too, as a fan at least. I mean, yeah, I remember his debut, like, clear as day, after WrestleMania, actually. So, Raw after WrestleMania. So, it was, yeah, it was exciting when he showed up, and it was exciting when he became such a big star. It was exciting when he came back after his time in the UFC. And yeah, while there have been kind of things in his career that I think were so-so at times, and he became a bit of a meme and a parody of himself sometimes. I think it can't be denied the impact he did have on the business, and on many occasions just really, really entertaining matches and feuds. So if this is it, then yeah, well, thanks Brock for the entertainment. But yeah, what a strange start to the show. I mean, it's big story already. But yeah, Brock Lesnar over Femi, that was the opener. Brock Lesnar lost as he should have done, and then yeah, seemingly has retired as well. So yeah, huge kind of I guess badge of honor really for Obafemi. Not only to win at WrestleMania at this stage in his career against someone like Brock, but yeah, like apparently he's retired him as well. So yeah, Sludge says if it is really over, then great career, Brock. Thank you for everything. Yeah, man. Like I always say, like the mark of a cool, exciting new wrestler is when you can't wait to play them on the video games. And I remember the first time you could play as Brock Lesnar on the SmackDown games, and just like how fun it was because Brock was such a cool character. Yeah, loads of cool memories of Brock Lesnar. It's funny looking at his early stuff. I was watching his match against Kurt Angle the other day, WrestleMania 19, and yeah, he looks so young. He looks different, and like even when he came back after UFC stuff, like he quickly formed into the Brock we know today, but like it was that kind of middle ground between both versions of Brock still. And yeah, I mean even that, that was a long time ago now in itself. So yeah, he wasn't actually gone in the grand scheme of things as long as it kind of appeared at the time. Now he's been back way longer than he was gone. So but yeah, this apparently is it, and if that's the case, then that was, well, what a way to go out quick. It's the kind of the Brock way to do it, I guess. But yeah, fun opener. Talking of fun matches, next up we had the Intercontinental Championship match. Of course, this was a 6-pack challenge for the IC strap, and it was a ladder match. And just as expected, this one, my goodness, did it deliver. It was a lot of fun. Strangely though, again, we'll touch on the kind of not so fun points. They cut 3 entrances. That was their decision for kind of how to maybe make up for all the extra ads they had. One of which was Dragon Lee, who had massive dragon wings, so I felt kind of bad for him because it looked kind of cool. I've seen a picture of it, but I don't really know what the rest of the entrance was like. I saw videos from inside the stadium. They were playing ads on the big screen while people were making their entrances, which is just so disrespectful in my opinion. But hey, at least you get a WrestleMania match. But yeah, anyway, for the entrance were cut. Rusev was there, Dragon Lee, and I think JD McDonough was already out there as well. Rey Mysterio got a cool entrance. He did the old "Who's That" jumping out of the sky. Didn't have the theme song, but still cool to get that moment again. Who else was it? Bouncy. He got a lot of fun reaction to Javon Evans and Penta, of course. He had a cool secondary mask on top as well, and yeah, had a cool entrance as well. This match apparently 15 minutes and 10 seconds. It was just full on action the whole time. Probably could have been a bit longer, but still was really good. Some of the highlights in this: Rey Mysterio hitting the 619 on Dragon Lee with the chair over his face. Oh no, wait, there was one with a chair here, there was one with a chair over the face in Dominic. I can't remember which one was which now, but yeah, there was 2 similar spots, which I know Lucas probably isn't going to be a fan of. Penta hitting Rey with a West Coast, throwing Rey up to hit the West Coast pop onto Rusev, which broke the ladder. Was a cool spot. And Dragon Lee was being put over really well by commentary in this, I got to say. So I know Sludge is probably not happy about that. But yeah, he was really being put over well by Michael Cole in particular. hits the Styles Clash on Rey Mysterio with a nice little nod to AJ Styles, who of course just retired and was inducted into the Hall of Fame this weekend and was Dragon Lee's tag partner in the last few kind of months of his career. There's a Spanish Fly by JD off the ladder. That was really cool. Mexican Destroyer onto the ladder by Penta. Rusev pulls down Javon, who looks like he's going to kind of take the title, but it doesn't work out for him. There's a really cool spot of an OG cutter where it kind of goes in reverse. Really, it's now Rusev who's on the end of some tricky offense from the bouncy one. It was a bit awkward though because like Rusev kind of like looks shocked but like dives into it. Maybe he should have made it look a bit more like he was gonna just like he knew thing he was coming, so he tried to just dive at him and hit him himself a clothesline, but he could have just dived out the other way. But it was still a great visual, don't get me wrong. Then there was a Destroyer by Penta again, this time hopping off of the step to hit it. I thought it was so cool. Like, one of the most impressive things I saw tonight was that, which sounds a bit maybe bizarre considering all the big spots we saw. But yeah, man, really, really enjoyed that. And yeah, Penta picks up the win, and it's exactly what I think it should have been. I was saying on the predictions that we did on the weekend kickoff show this Friday and on tonight's build-up show that, you know, this is the kind of retention that you don't mind seeing. I think it actually works best for his character as well, because if, again, there was no story behind it. It was basically Penta going, oh, Ray, it'd be cool if you're in this match. Oh, all my mates, do you all want to, like, come and take this thing off me that I really, you know, hold dearly? And then, like, if he lost, like, it would, the story should have then gone into someone being like, see, you're too nice, you shouldn't have done that, look what you've done, and him realizing that, you know, and turning heel. And that was never going to happen with Penta's character. So the best case scenario was a Penta retention, or as we dubbed it earlier, I think a pentention. But yeah, that was a fun way to do it. Now at this point, we've got the first hour in the books. This was all free on ESPN, by the way. So I was thinking, man, what a fantastic hour. We were talking in the group chat about how much we were enjoying it, and we're just hoping the rest of the show would deliver. And I've got to say, I think it did. So let's move into that. But before we do, let's get to some of the comments. Sludge says, where were the entrances for Rusev and JD? What was that? It was terrible. Yeah, I've noticed you've missed Dragon Lee's name there, mate. That's so rude, says Sludge. But other than that, absolute banger. Completely agree with you, Sludge. I thought it was a fantastic match, a real kind of exciting start to the show. First, you got a big moment with Oba, Femi, and Brock Lesnar, and then you get a match like this. So contrast in style, but still both very enjoyable and did the job they needed to do. JD McDonough is incredible, says Sludge. Yeah, I think he really put the work in this match. He was, you know, really selling well and kind of, yeah, just super athletic and, yeah, very impressive. Next up, we had the United States Championship match. Now, of course, I was saying on the build-up show that I haven't really been the biggest fan of this storyline. I don't really understand or have liked really the Sami Zayn kind of heelification, like just pull the trigger if you're going to do it. I mean, he looked disappointed at the end of it. He was definitely getting some boos. But yeah, they didn't do the double turn, so to speak. But, you know, he was not the fan favourite tonight, basically, I'll put it that way. Lil Yachty does the intro. Trick Williams comes out with a long train, which my wife quickly said looked like toilet paper, so I quickly jumped on Twitter and made a little jokey tweet about it, so full credit to her. At Scott_Reb Noise, by the way. Loads of boos for Sammy, and this was a really quick match, 8 minutes 50. Yachty interferes, but doesn't quite do it, and Sammy's still kind of looking all right. Hits the exploder, goes to hit the haluva kick. He's stopped by Trick, who hits him with the trick shot, and he gets the free count, and that is it. That is all she wrote. There wasn't much in this one. But still, it was the right decision, and so far, so good. You know, every match, I think it's the right decision here. And we get to the third one, and this may be the most important of them all. Yeah, maybe you could argue Oba because of, you know, the passing of the torch situation. Even if Brock wasn't retiring, I think it was quite important. But here, yeah, especially because I think Trick Williams, yeah, should have that gold around his waist. So I'm looking forward to seeing what it looks like on SmackDown. But yeah, it was really nice as well. He had a lovely moment where he went and kind of celebrated with his parents on the outside in the front row. So yeah, really enjoyed this. And yeah, credit to all involved. I thought it was good. Where it leads to Sami Zayn, I don't know. I mean, if they go heel with him, then yeah, like that's it then, isn't it? The underdog thing is over. I know that Rob was saying he kind of, run his course. But at the same time, it's a missed opportunity. I really think this year they could have made him, challenge for the world title at WrestleMania and won it, but wasn't to be. Maybe in Saudi, maybe he turns heel and something turns around this time next year, and he's a babyface and he kind of has that underdog kind of spirit again and whatever else. But they're clearly looking to do something different with Sammy. So I guess we will wait and see what that is. Some comments here again. This was the bathroom break. Nothing really happened. Expected it was fine. Probably the worst match of the night. Yeah, it's hard saying things like that though. I feel worst match of the night. Least impressive match of the night. Yeah. The match where not that much happened, but then again, you got a 4-minute match on here, and I'm saying, this here, but 8 minutes 50 wasn't a lot of time. But yeah, it was the right result. So it is weird. Someone has to be the least exciting match of the night, right? I guess it goes to these guys. But it was good. That's not me dissing it, but someone has to be last, and I guess it is them. Let's move into the next match, though. It was something that changed on the Countdown show, and we were reacting to it live on the build-up as well. So thanks to those that tuned in for the build-up show tonight. If you're new here, by the way, what I'm talking about is basically every night when there's a PLE, we like to talk last-minute rumours and talk last-minute predictions and get you kind of hyped up and in the mood for the PLE. And we go off on kind of really fun tangents and conversations relating to wrestling as well. So, if you didn't join us this time round, then make sure you join us for Backlash. But yeah, this match was again, they announced on the Countdown show it was going to be a street fight. Talking of announcements, all of us on the panel were pretty frustrated, or me and Rob especially, with them announcing that Finn Balor was going to be the Demon, and our big fear was that he was going to lose again. Now, I'm happy to report that was not the case, and Finn Balor did pick up the victory. It did make me feel, when he was coming out, as much as I enjoyed his entrance as a Demon, I did think that's a bit hokey, innit? But maybe that is, just a symbol of what the problem's been with that character, that side of his character, I should say. Anyway, before we get his entrance, we get the entrance for the King of the Luchadors. You get loads of luchas making their way to the ring, surrounded by a giant throne that there is a masked man on top of, and that masked man, of course, was Dominic Mysterio. He takes off his mask, and he's done that the past few WrestleManias as well. But yeah, man, I think he looked like a star. And he also, man, credit where it's due with Dom. He's so good in so many areas. He looked terrified when Finn Balor was making his entrance. He really sold that. And I think, part of that probably was because they've been pals, I guess, behind the scenes, working so closely in the Judgment Day. He probably knows Finn's frustrations with the use of the Demon character and stuff like that. So I think, he did a fantastic job at selling the fear of needing to face the Demon. So I thought that was really good. This started out with a lot of chairs being used. There was a frog splash early on that was kind of kicked out of. There was a coup de grace that got missed, and then a chair thrown into the head, it kind of seemed, from Dom to Finn Balor. Then there was the 619 with a chair. Again, there was one in the Ray match as well. 2 619 chair spots, but slightly different. Got the frog splash as well. Straight after this, only picks up a 2 count. Then there was some stuff around with the table. Finn again carrying on, getting up, more chair attacks and things like that. There was a cool drop kick into the turnbuckle with the chair over Dominic's head, which just flew out of the ring as well. It was just perfect. And then there was a coup de grace from Finn Balor through the table, and it looked like he was landing an ollie or something like that. He was all slipping and sliding as he got off the table, which I think just kind of added into it. Look, it was a messy looking finish, but not in a negative sense. It just made it look kind of destructive. But yeah, fun match overall. This one was 12 minutes 58 apparently. Not super long for a street fight, but still, you know, it's the common theme on this show or this weekend, really, the length of the matches. But yeah, a good one. And again, I think the right result. And so far, so good. Once again, I'm happy with the results here, and I'm happy with the performances as well. Then we get someone at the announce desk who is gonna, like, he looks like he's gonna be a special guest announcer. Like, I've looked into it. People looked up his name. Basically, he's a CEO. So it looks like he's just like, and they kind of implied this was what it was, like he paid to get that seat, but he didn't speak. So, like, he just paid to, like, be close to the action. Okay. I mean, I think I'm more forgiving of weird stuff like that today because I enjoyed the show. But yesterday, I think if that had, I mean, loads of people talking about it online, don't get me wrong. But you combine that with, like, all the ads and, yeah. The priorities for TKO are, like, I get it, money. But, yeah, like, laughable, really, a lot of this stuff. Anyway, what he was there for was the Women's Championship match. And this is the first result where I was like, I'm not sure about that. But a very fun match. 10 minutes, 9 seconds, apparently. Jade came out first. Never a fan of that. Never, ever, ever a fan of the champion coming out first. It should be the challenger awaiting the aura-filled champion. And it's not like Jade doesn't have aura. So, yeah, really disappointing. But anyway, she came out first, did have a decent entrance herself. Rhea Ripley had an entrance. They tried to explain her gear by saying it was kind of inmate inspired, and she felt like she was going crazy or something because of Jade. Cool. It's cool gear. We'd see her in all white. But yeah, it was cool gear nonetheless. Yeah, this is the kind of match I expected from these two, and I thought they performed really well. They actually gelled quite well together, in my opinion. I was saying to Rob earlier on the build-up show, I wasn't sure how they were gonna gel, being kind of two kind of powerhouses in style, but I think it actually did work really well. The heels did show up, of course, as predicted, and Rhea did get distracted, but it didn't lead to the victory for Jade Cargill. Shido did take advantage of the situation. She hit what they described as a sandstorm, which was the one-winged angel, and only picked up a 2. But it's pretty impressive, I got to say. Cool little visual there. Io Sky did come out to try and even the odds, at least make it 3-2. And yeah, she did do that. She was really kind of impressive in a little bit of a cameo that she did have on the outside. It was a really cool spot where she missed a kick that was coming away from Jade Cargill by hitting a moonsault to get away from it, but then also hitting Meechin and B-Fab, which was really cool. Riptide was set up, but Jade slipped out of it. Jaded was set up, but Rhea got out of it, and then Rhea actually hit the Riptide, and there you go. Brand new world champion. WWE champion, I should say. I wasn't 100% for this win. Again, like I mentioned it a few times this weekend, I get it. I get the need or the want for WWE to put her in this position. But yeah, they've done exactly what I said on the build-up that I thought they probably shouldn't do, which is take the women's titles at the same time off the newer talents and put them on the kind of more established talents. I thought that what they've done with the women has been great, and sometimes it kind of worked awkwardly the other way, where both women's main titles being held by kind of, I guess, quote unquote rookies, or, you know, people newer in the game, and I think it was sometimes damaging. But to change it, you know, like one of each would have been nice. One of them held by an established, like on their way to being a legend type talent, and one of them held by kind of a newcomer who is making a name, you know. So Stephanie and Rhea, or Liv and Jade. It wasn't to be, and it's going to be a bit strange seeing what happens with this group now that their leader doesn't have a championship. But yeah, I hope they keep the group together, because I think it's done wonders, especially for Jade. So, but yeah, cool to see Io Sky out there as well. Really bizarre that she didn't have a match. You know, we talked about over this past weekend how, you know, it looks like she might end up having match with Asuka at Backlash, but not a fan of her missing out here. Look, you can't give everyone a match, but like when she is as good as she's been and she's in a storyline and she's missing, it feels a bit odd, especially considering she's been such a big part of the big shows over the past few years. Last year, she was a big deal at WrestleMania. Michael Cole was banging on about her being one of the best wrestlers in the world, or calling her the best wrestler in the world, and saying, you know, I ain't talking women's wrestler here, I'm just talking the best wrestler in the world. So, you know, they've gone from that, which I don't think is like they've changed their stance on her or anything like that. It's just not really worked out, I guess. They wanted to shoehorn Rhea in, it seems, and they've done that, but they didn't have the same kind of, I guess, motivations to do it for Io, it would seem. But hey, at least she got a moment and she was involved in the show, but it's got to be disappointing. Then out comes your host, John Cena, who says he was really just weird. You know, like I said it yesterday, like he weren't doing a lot of his normal stuff because I think he's trying to differentiate John Cena, the man, from the wrestler in this. And I kind of get it, but yeah, he seemed a little almost out of place. Anyway, he announced that it was 55,255 people there, so about 5,000 more than the previous night. And then they did that silly thing where they add them up and say, that means the total attendance of 106,972. Yeah, right. That's not me kind of poo-pooing the actual number that they would have got, you know, of someone doing both nights or however you want to count it. Because it's impressive in the 50s anyway. But, yeah, but the adding numbers together is just silly. Anyway, as I guess we kind of discussed and hoped for, this did lead to a Danhausen segment. First of all, though, it was Miz and Kit Wilson making their way out there, and then, yeah, Danhausen's music hit. And at this moment, I was really happy. I thought, you know what? You think about the last time I think he was on PLE was his debut, right? Was it Elimination Chamber? Or was it Saturday Night's Main Event? Or whatever it was. But, you know, it wasn't that long ago, essentially, that he debuted. And as we've talked about on this channel already, you know, it was a terrible reaction to him because people expected something else. And it was a bit of a weird spot to put him in. Even though I think it was kind of obvious it was him as well. I know people were hoping it was Jericho or someone else returning or debuting. But it fits Danhausen. Like, it made sense with the crate. Like, it's his kind of character. Now, I think a lot of people have come to know Danhausen's character and would get that a little bit more now. But it was nice to think, you know what? Like, he's such a big part of WWE programming and a star. They have to strike with the iron's hot and have to shoehorn him into WrestleMania, as they should be doing. Then my feelings kind of changed. Basically, the shtick was that he came out in his car, which is cool, and loads of little Danhausens. Michael Cole used a certain word to describe him and like really jumped into like, don't ever go at me. That's what they want me to call him. And I just thought like, okay, like, but did they say you better call us this? Or did they say, if you're going to call us anything, call us this? I don't know. It was just a weird, I don't know. I keep saying shoehorning, but shoehorning in of that term. Just weird. And then like really playing into it, like being like it's and I haven't mentioned this yet, but the whole gingerbread man thing with Sami Zayn I think is ridiculous. It's like, is this the 90s? Like making fun of someone because they're ginger. Like, really? Not saying it was acceptable in the 90s. You know, I just, it's just stupid. Like, that's going to encourage people to like go to school and say to their ginger friends like gingerbread. Like, I just think it's stupid. Sami Zayn kicking a gingerbread's head off was quite funny, but yeah. And then the similar kind of thing here, like they basically, Michael Cole made a joke about how he thought one of them was the cameraman. I'm guessing this cameraman's short. Like, that's, I get the visual effect, and if people like, you know, want to be playing these roles and stuff like that, like, that's not for me to judge. Like, okay, like, I get it. I think everybody has their own space, and you know, if it wants to be used in a comedic way and they're fine with that, then so be it. That's okay. But to then for a person like Michael Cole, who isn't, you know, like size, to jokingly call someone else, I thought that was such and such. I just thought it was such a weird, like, it reminded me in school, like, stupidness. I don't know, maybe I'm getting caught up on this, but yeah, I just thought it was really weird. It kind of just put a sour taste in my mouth. I didn't really enjoy that. But the segment, it's not the use of people like that, you know, like that's not it. It's it was the weird commentary of it that I just didn't feel comfortable with. Danhausen said that he liked John Cena. Miz got annoyed about this. Kit attacked one of the guys and then got hit after saying you're toxic, got hit in the balls. There's a bit of a melee and there's a 5-knuckle shuffle from Danhausen, which is quite funny. He did the "you can't see me," and then there was an explosion and he ran out and did the whole kind of bit where he gets kind of, you know, caught by running away and pretending to disappear, and it fit with "you can't see me." It's what a lot of people kind of expected him to do and hoped he would do, and for that reason it was good. It's the segment I wanted. I just think the execution of it not amazing. Let's get to some more of these comments before we get into the main event. These new graphics made it feel like a nightmare as well. What are we talking about here? As in the blue, like the blue graphics for night 2, is that what you mean, Sludge? Banger did what it needs to do. Bravo, and the right choice of winner. I think the street fight made it so much better. I was talking about the Finn and Dom match. What else do we get? He says, honestly, my TV was bugging this match, so I only saw the entrances and the ending, so I don't know what happened. I did see the EO running, but it wasn't anything special. It was better than Charlotte and Tiffany. That's for sure. That is for sure. I mean, talk about someone else who was on a big, you know, in a big program this time last year, Tiffany Stratton. But that's different for me. They've had a completely... Tiffany got injured as well, but they've had completely different years, EO and Tiffany. EO still deserves to be on the show. Tiffany, I don't want to say she don't deserve to be on the show, but like, I think last WrestleMania showed why she isn't on the same level as someone like Charlotte. So, and that's not like I'm not saying it in a way to diss her, because I think she is a great talent, but it exposed her last year, in my opinion. So, just like the match between her and Jade exposed both of them, in my opinion, as well. And then you get a match like tonight with Jade and Rhea, which I think was a lot more flattering, essentially, to Jade and covering up things. I mean, Jade's a year in the, you know, a year more kind of experienced than she was anyway this time last year, and so is Tiffany, I guess, even though she was out. But yeah, I just I don't think it's interesting that Tiffany weren't on it, but I don't think she was as deserving as Io, who really kind of should have been on it. Sludge says Oba just called out Roman on the post show. Ooh, interesting. I'll have to. I mean, that's jumping straight to the top, but that's interesting. I can kind of see it now, because I don't think Roman should be holding the title for long anyway. But anyway, let's move on to that, guys. Let's talk about the main event of the evening. We touched on it a little before, you know, as we came on the air. Let's talk about it, though. It is, of course, Roman Reigns challenging CM Punk for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. This was, again, a lot of fun. It started with a really good promo package, and I know we talked about this a lot this weekend, but that's one of the things that was missing off of WrestleMania. Something that WWE have been famously fantastic at over the years, but yeah, just kind of not really used them lately. That was really disappointing, but yeah, good to see a good one here. Reigns gets a huge entrance with pictures of his family, and also came out to the original version of his Tribal Chief theme song, which I thought was really cool. I way prefer that one, which is a bit, I know that's a bit weird to say because they are quite similar, but the newer one feels like ironically a WrestleMania one. You know, like when they did the piano and all that kind of stuff here as well, but when they first did like a live rendition of it, and it's like a bigger, like a grand version of it, like it was like a recording of that. That's what it felt like, and I was like, nah, I preferred the original version. So it's good to see that. I don't know if that means that's sticking around or if it's kind of a throwback thing, because Punk was getting some throwback stuff here as well. But yeah, let's move on to that. Punk had, of course, his old Ring of Honor theme song by AFI, and then he came out to like no music. You heard him do the It's Clubbing Room Time, and then the theme song of Cult of Personality hit, which I think, yeah, was pretty cool. He had tributes on his jacket to friends that had passed away recently, and of course to Larry and Harley Race, which was really nice as well. But yeah, this really felt like a big fight feel to it. You know, I know Michael Cole for months has been talking about this being like one of the biggest WrestleMania main events of all time. I think it delivered, and like it was a really impressive main event. But it had a good story behind it. I just think the build went. I think Andy said it best on the build up. Really, like it was kind of back to front or in the wrong order. Really, it was just really strange how they did it. But they hit the right notes, but just all over the place. But yeah, tonight made up for that, man. It was a really, really good match. Both guys performed really well. And while the shenanigans, as I say, within the match, it was refreshing to not see 17 people come out and 4 new members of the Bloodline or whatever else, you know. So I know we're not right in that era at the moment, but there was still a temptation, I feel, for WWE to do that sort of thing, and they didn't. So credit where it's due. I thought that was pretty good. Early on, they start fighting on the outside. Punk sits in the front row and then hits Roman as he kind of goads him to come closer. Punk starts getting a lot more boos in this. Like, there's a lot of cheers for Roman. They start doing OTC in that bit where Punk does have no theme song playing as well. But don't get me wrong, they're very much behind Punk as well. They start crap talking basically in the ring. Reigns is saying things like this ain't promo day to him and stuff like that. There's a big oorah. He goes to do the spear, I guess, and or is it Superman punch? No, it'd be the spear, wouldn't it? And then he gets a knee to the face in the corner. Punk hits the second one. A little while after that, Punk's the one in trouble, though. He's upside down. There's 3 Superman punches. Blood starts coming from Punk's mouth. I don't know if this was a blood capsule or something like that. I don't know how they did it, but basically it was a great visual. Credit if he actually just punched him in the mouth. That's going to hurt in the morning. But yeah, Punk is bleeding from the mouth. And then he's bleeding from the forehead because they just get steps thrown at him. Yeah, and at this point, I was like, hold on a minute. Is this no DQ? And then I looked it up. No, it's a singles match. So, like, did I miss something? Like, because they didn't do... Like, it was a brutal match, but like, it was the only spot on the outside where... Like, again, if you go through a table, that's not using a weapon, right? But if you throw a table at someone, that's using a weapon. So how'd they get around this? Did I miss something? Anyway, speaking of tables, there's a powerbomb through the announce table as well. Punk's not looking good at this point. Then he does kind of get a bit of life because there's a spear that's counting into the GTS. Only gets a 2 count for CM Punk though as well. Then there's another one where he tries to GTS him again, but Reigns gets out of it. He drops down, hits him with a spear, only gets the 2 himself. Reigns starts really ramming Punk's face into the mat, trying to get the blood in the mat, and he says basically it's time to go to sleep. And he does all the taunts and he tries to do the GTS, but Punk kicks him essentially and gets out of it. Punk then starts to do the mind games himself and steals a finisher of his own. He hits the Superman punch, only gets a 2, and then he really wants to cosplay as Roman Reigns. He goes outside and gets an Ula Fala, I think off of a fan. I think that's what Michael Cole said at least. Comes back in the ring and it was super disrespectful, man. Like it does the Ura. It's so ridiculous thinking about it. Like I was thinking when they were fighting on the outside, like, man, this is so cool. Like Punk, to his credit, I think has really turned around his career in the past few years. Like people thought he was done after that AEW stuff, and like this resurgence is amazing, and he's played ball, man, to his credit as well. Like, and he's got rewarded for it. But yeah, I was thinking, man, like, imagine if like when Punk hadn't come back here, people said these two are going to face at WrestleMania. It'd be huge. Or imagine when Roman was doing, you know, amazing things in the Bloodline, and Punk had just gone to AEW, and people said it then. Like again, huge. So yeah, really privileged to get this kind of match. But then I also thought, like, if I could see either of those timelines. If someone had shown me a picture of Punk in the Ulafala doing the ooh, I would have thought, what the heck is going on? But yeah, so that was quite funny. Anyway, there was as I say, he was caught with a spear. Then he gets a guillotine for his kind of naughty actions. There's a roll through though, and there's a 2 count. It's a very awkward 2 count. It looks like it could have been and should have been a 3 count. That was a bit weird. I want to watch that back because it looked like there was a little bit of a mistake there. But they didn't count the 3, so that's okay. Then there was an Anaconda Vice from CM Punk, but quickly again Roman Reigns gets this guillotine. Punk tries to get out of it, goes for a sharpshooter attempt, but gets kicked in the face and falls back into position for the guillotine. There's another roll through attempt that gets the 2, and they keep doing this shot from above, which looks great, by the way, but they overdid it. And I was thinking, is this just to show off all the ads on the mat? Because it was a bit suspicious how many times they did it. There was a lot of trash talking in the ring then. They start punching each other back and forth. Then there are some chops. Then they go back to punches. Then a really cool spot. Like, really, like, just great. Like, this is how you know, like, I don't know. It's the small things that I think are fantastic. Like, the psychology. Like, I was shocked. I didn't get what they were doing. Like, Punk took off the wrist tape and he threw it. And the ref just picked it up. And I just thought at the time, oh, this ain't the spot. Like, the ref is just doing his job. He's getting out of the way. But no, like, the ref was distracted. Boom, low blow. Like, I thought it was a really cool spot. Yeah, hits Reigns with the low blow. Hits him with a GTS. Only gets a 2. A little while after this, he puts Reigns on the announce table. Hits him with an elbow drop from the turnbuckle. And it's looking good for Punk here, man. He gets him back in the ring. He hits the GTS. And he goes to do that, you know, that same old thing, really, where someone falls back on top of him. But he couldn't. And they've done that before as well. But, like, they really drove home how much Punk had kind of struggled. He'd lost blood and all this kind of stuff. And, you know, Roman's a big guy. So Punk just couldn't do it anymore. And even, like, his low blow, of course, that was a desperation tactic as well, even as a babyface. There was a spear from Roman Reigns, and yeah, Punk was just not looking good, and another spear, and yeah, that was it. 3 count, that's all she wrote, and Roman Reigns is your new WWE World Heavyweight Champion. And as I said throughout the weekend, I think that's a good decision as far as the championship goes. Not long term, I don't know what they're going to do there, I hope it is, but short term, you know, the image of Roman Reigns holding up that belt. He's never held, as far as I remember at least, the old World Heavyweight Championship. And again, whether or not this is a lineage continuation from there, or the WCW title, the NWA title, the WCW International title with a big gold, you know, like, I don't know what they're considering this at the moment. But either way, I think adding his name to that kind of lineage, however it is a good thing. Again, he might have held the World Heavyweight Championship before, but yeah, either way, he's not held this version of it, has he? Let's have a look. I should look that up. Hold on. Roman Reigns championships. Come on, show me quick. There's too many words here in Wikipedia. Come on. Let's get to it. Come on. No, I don't want to know what awards he's won. What the heck? Where are the championships? Has he got like a whole separate page? Championships and accomplishments. Oh, here we go. World Heavyweight Champion, 1 time, current. There we go. It is the first time he's had it. I should have trusted myself there, shouldn't I? But yeah, it's a big moment, man. Again, I think it makes the title look good. I think he can't have it for long. He can't have it for 17 years again. But what he can do is put someone over. Maybe it's Oba, just like Brock did. You know, I know Sludge said that he's been called out by Oba on the post show. Maybe that is where to go with it, and maybe Reigns wins it quickly. I think it's a good thing as well, because again, Reigns keeps coming back, and like, yeah, he's distracted by other stories, but he's also not really done anything since he come back as far as the title goes. And I think it's been a healthy thing to keep him away from the title picture. But if he's not retiring at some point, I think you do have to give it back to him for a little bit to at least like make other stars as a result. So maybe that's what they do here with Obafemi. Maybe they do it with someone else, but at the moment, I'm saying it's a good thing that he's world champion. I might feel different when we are 16 years into a 17-year reign. A few more comments here from Sludge. Says, absolute banger of a match. This match told story. All the moves had story behind them. I would agree with you, mate. It says, Sludge also says, I'm a big Punk guy. I wanted Punk to win because he literally has won every promo battle. And then also said, this is your ranking for the matches. Speed and Vision versus Usos, number 13, and LA Knight. Your 12th favourite was the US title, as we mentioned earlier on, your least from tonight. Then was the Fatal 4-Way. Then AJ Lee versus Becky, Stephanie Vaquer versus Liv, Jacob versus Drew, Oba versus Brock, Jade versus Rhea, Dom versus Finn, Randy versus Cody, your full favourite. Your third favourite is the IC match. Your second favourite is Gunther versus Rollins. And your first favourite of WrestleMania weekend is Punk versus Roman Reigns, ranked from worst to best. Look, I can't argue with much of that, mate. I think you've actually come up with a really good order there. There might be a few that I tweak and move around a little bit, but generally speaking, I'd pretty much agree with most of that, bar like a position or two. So yeah, I agree. And when I look at it overall like that, I'm like, you know what? Like it it was a good WrestleMania, especially tonight. I think tonight was really fun. Number one, the pacing was all over the place, and there are still those same problems that we talked about on last night's instant reaction review and on tonight's build-up show. You know, the ads are ridiculous, and the commercialization of this company is insane. And again, I'm not trying to, you know, I'm not forgetting the fact that they've always made money. Do you know what I mean? They've always done big brand deals and stuff like that, but it's just the amount and how much it is. And like, as Lucas was saying, you know, who is this for? Who is this for? And I just feel like that's kind of the case with a lot of the stuff they're doing. It's all about the moment, the viral moment, rather than long term, and rewarding the wrestling fans who tune in every week. And you want them to tune in every week. You end up rewarding a random person who clicks an article and goes, huh, cool, for 5 minutes. Like, that is, yeah, I know that probably brings you some money because ad revenue and all that kind of stuff, but long term, man, I think you're not helping your long term customer. Whereas tonight, I felt like they were a lot more focused on the long term customer. Again, some of the same issues with the ads, and like, although we had the Danhausen stuff in the ring, and I think that was a little bit hit and miss, even though I was happy for Danhausen and Miz, Kit Wilson and Cena and all the extras. I don't think they did enough with, like, again, backstage stuff and promos. Like, it was just a lot more they could have done. But yeah, I won't let that kind of gloss over the fact that, again, I really enjoyed tonight. I thought it was a good show. I thought it was definitely quite a bit better than the first night. Match lengths were a little bit longer. I mean, again, there was one less match, so it was a bit easier to do that. So that's a bit of a hindrance on the first night, I guess you could say. Same thing last year, where it was 7 and 6 once again. But yeah, overall, I thought it was a decent WrestleMania. I feel much better now that night 2 is in the books. Let me know what you think though, guys. If you've been watching live or on demand, we appreciate you. Keep your comments coming. If you are watching it on demand, I'd love to hear what you thought of the show overall. But yeah, just thank you so much for tuning in this weekend. I've had a really good time. First of all, just kind of getting hyped up and in the mood for WrestleMania. It's always a fun thing to do, but of course on these instant reaction reviews as well, it's always good to come on here and hear what you have to say about the show. Of course, we did an instant reaction review, as I say, for night 1 as well. But you've now been tuned into your instant reaction review for WrestleMania night 2 as well. Thank you so much for that and for your support. It's a real privilege to come on here and chat wrestling with you guys. We'll be back, of course, for Backlash and hopefully a bit of content surrounding it as well. But yeah, thank you so much. If you haven't already, please subscribe, check out more of our content where we've got interviews with some of your favorite wrestlers, such as Kit Wilson and Elton Prince of Pretty Deadly. We've had great conversations in the past with people that are no longer with WWE, like Bobby Lashley. Great conversations with people like Kevin Owens, Finn Balor, of course, who was highlighted tonight, Rhea Ripley as well, who become champion tonight. So if that sounds like it's up your street, then check out the interviews we did with those on this very channel and more of our podcast and special features from over the past few years as well. But once again, thank you so much for tuning in. I've been Scott. This has been a Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel, and this has been our WrestleMania coverage for WrestleMania 42. Thank you very much, guys. I'll see you on the next one.